Hi, everyone. I just wanted to make a few comments based on Module 1 and your responses. And I also want to share some of my own resources in the sake of collaboration. Um, so these videos, I'm going to try to keep them about 5 minutes or less. I'm just going to make a few comments based on people's responses. I'm going to add my own thoughts. And then usually I will share some resources that kind of make sense to go along with what you've asked. So first I want to say that it was a great discussion, still ongoing, and that's fantastic. James, along with others, commented on the fact that teachers don't all learn the same way. And that's a really important thing in professional development. And I say this because it's important that we understand how we best learn so that we can find ways to learn so that we can do better for our students, myself included. So teachers don't all learn the same way. And teachers' learning has to be tied to student learning. So there has to be something that drives a teacher's thirst for knowledge. So it has to be rooted in a specific student problem. And that's important. So that means that as a teacher, as soon as I see a student that I can't get an idea across to, that's when I go into more content knowledge seeking so that I can figure out what that student needs to know. Along with that, Ali commented on the fact that teachers need to keep up with their own learning. And I want to clarify something because I feel like it's a prevailing thought out there that recently we've revamped math education and people are trying to create this new math. And there is no new math. I don't think anybody would say that there's a new math. We still know that 2 plus 2 is 4. We still know that 4 times 4 is 16, and that's fine. That doesn't change. What changes is the fact that in the last 20 years, we are able to figure out how students learn and what motivates them much better than we could in the past. So now we know much more about how students learn the math, not what math is. So there's no new math. There's new pedagogy linked to math because we know more about how students learn. I want to add to James's doing the math problem. So he did the math just for everybody to kind of see and comment on, and that's fantastic. I love to see that. And he asked the question: is this supposed to be like a one answer thing, or are we supposed to be showing divergent thinking? And I want to say that we're definitely looking for divergent thinking, and I also want to say that some of the questions that you see are meant to show us where students are in their learning. So on a continuum of learning, some students are at additive thinking, which is very early on in comparing things, and other students are at multiplicative thinking, which is much further on the continuum of comparing things. So if I pose that question to a student and all a student can say is that one tree grew 2 meters and the other tree grew 3 meters, so the 3 meter one grew more, that student is stuck in only thinking additively. If I'm going to push that student's thinking, then I need to do some math with them where they're thinking multiplicatively, and then I can ask them the question again. And if they need a little bit more probing, then I might even reword the question to say, well, James said that tree A actually grew more. Why might I agree with them? So I'm asking them to kind of dig deep and to figure out why is it that the other person may be right. I think Charles and others put up a great list of possible PD methods, and Selena and Judith also said that admin need to provide opportunities, and this is all true. I want to share with you one PD method that's teacher driven and that I've seen have a lot of success. It's called the pineapple chart. If you haven't seen it, this is kind of what it looks like. It's just a chart with a week, and during every period that week, somebody puts their name down. And what this means, so here it means the Sherry is inviting whatever teacher has time during this period from 9:30 to 10:15 to come to her room and see what's happening. It's completely informal, but teachers are opening up their classrooms so that we get rid of this idea that we're working in isolation, so that we get rid of this idea that we're all on our own, because a lot of people's responses had the fear of working in isolation, that we don't work with adults. I've provided a link under this video to the podcast, or no, not the podcast, to the blog that introduced me to pineapple charts. So you can have a read if you like, if that intrigues you. And one other thing that I wanted to share was a list that I keep for myself. And obviously I share with other teachers, but a list of activities that I always try with students to get their thinking. So this is my list of resources. I again shared this link with you under this video, and it's a long list of resources. I'm going to bring them up from time to time in these videos when I think that a particular type of question will work to feed our discussion. Okay. All right. So that's all for module 1, and we'll see you again when I post another video. All right. Cheers.